I always get confused. I want to make sure it's there. Hi, Andrea.
Hi, Jason. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for joining us today. I appreciate it.
Yes, of course. I'm excited to be here.
Excellent. Brian, I'm glad you could join us.
Let me just close this out.
Excellent.
Let's do this quick so I stop getting dings. Cool. Should I get started?
Yeah, I think you're, Ashley, are you ready?
Yep, I'm ready.
Yep, great.
Cool.
Thanks, Jason.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. Well, thank you so much again for the opportunity to speak with you today. I'm really excited to share some general information about API and then have some time for questions, or anytime, please feel free to pop in and let me know if you have any questions. But I do want to just share this general information with you first. I'll kind of go things rather quickly, but again, stop me if you have questions or feel free to pop in or ask questions at the end. So my name is Jason Koba and I'm Associate Vice President for University Partnerships at API. My role is to work with you at UW-Stout and to help you find programs that work best for you. Whatever I can do to help out, I'm your university representative, so I'm here to help you. So before I get started, I do just want to share just a couple of quotes and show this as an example of some of the things that students have had to say about their experiences abroad and specifically with API. Some of these are from as early as this last spring, so I'm really excited about that, even though it was kind of a unique semester and we are facing some unique challenges. Students were able to still have a really, really great experience for the time that they were there. So just kind of share these as a way to kind of get you thinking about it and see what other students have had to say about their experiences, because it's a really cool way to really grow as an individual, both academically and personally. So I do want to mention just a little bit about API as an organization just for a second. We've been around for over 20 years and we send approximately 4,000 students abroad every year. It's a little bit different this year, but that's what we've been doing for the last several years anyway. We were founded by these four ladies that you see in this picture here. There's our founding mothers. And I mention that because it really does kind of set the tone for who we are as an organization. And we want you to feel like you're part of our family when you study abroad with API. So whether you're doing an in-person program, a virtual program, an internship, whatever it is that you're doing with us, we want to make sure that it's a program that inspires learning within you and in the community with which you are living. So we really do want to welcome you into the API family. So that's what we want you to feel like when you're with us. So we offer a variety of different program options. So these are kind of the things I'll touch on. I'm not going to go into every single location and every single detail because that would take forever. But I do just want to give you a broad overview of the different locations where we offer programming. So we do have our traditional on-site study abroad programs, and those are available in the locations and countries that you see here. Many times we have multiple cities, so there's a variety of options within each location. We have our on-site internship programs as well. So I'll talk about those a little bit. And then lastly, we have our virtual programs. So these are kind of a new thing that we've all kind of been pivoted to make happen in a time of challenge, if you will. But these are actually really cool because they're not going anywhere. They're going to stay around for a while because they're a really cool addition to the portfolio of programs that we have. And there's some really cool opportunities. So I'll talk a little bit about all of those in general. So time to get started talking about our on-site study abroad programs. We do have programming in over 20 countries, so you can see that we have a pretty wide range of options, whether it's Europe, Latin America, Asia, the Middle East, the South Pacific. We do have quite a few different options for you. We offer programs that start with just a couple of weeks and last all the way up to an entire academic year. So really anything in between, we can kind of create a program that works for you, or we'll find a program that fits your time schedule. We have global staff and culture experts in all the different locations. So these are our resident directors, and they're there to literally help you from the moment you arrive till the time that you leave. They'll organize your activities, your excursions, cultural events, and they're there to help you with any issues you might have. If you get sick, if you need to go to the doctor, they'll take you. If you have questions about your housing or your academics or anything like that, they're there to help you. And they really are the best part of the program. Honestly, they're the most amazing thing about the programs. All of our programs take place at accredited institutional partners abroad. And what I mean by that is that API doesn't teach courses, but what we do is we work with host institutions. So you're going to be taking classes with other students, whether those are international students or local students, kind of depends on the program that you choose and the types of classes you pick, but you're taking classes at other universities. So you're not taking classes at a center or anything like that, but rather you're taking courses at other universities, which is kind of a cool thing because you have access to all the rights and things that go along with those universities. So you're just like a student like anybody else that's there. Some of our programs have the option for you to do an internship along with the study experience. So if you're not sure what you want to do, you can actually do both. So I'll talk a little bit about those. And then we also offer an API Gives Back initiative. So this is our ability. This is kind of like a way to say thank you. So I'll talk about that in a minute as well, but it's one of my favorite parts about API's programs. And then in our virtual programs, we understand and recognize that being in a virtual space isn't exactly the same thing as being able to travel abroad. So what we've done is we've actually incorporated an on-site component, an optional on-site component to our virtual program. So if you decide you want to do a virtual program, but you still want to go abroad, we offer short 2-week programs where you can actually go to the place that you're doing a virtual program sometime this spring, hopefully. So that's kind of a cool option for you to just do a little add-on trip, if you will. So from all of our programs, we're going to provide you a lot of different services. So I've highlighted those that are on site, but these are available and part of all of our components, whether it be on site or virtual. You're going to get things like pre-departure advising and services. Again, the on-site staff are global guides that are there. When you arrive on site, you'll be picked up at the airport or the train station so that you're literally met from the moment you arrive in country to the time that you're gone. We offer either both on-site and virtual orientations. So if it's a virtual program, it's obviously all virtual, but even for our on-site programs, there's some pre-departure orientation that takes place within our platform. And then once you arrive on site, you also receive a very detailed orientation when you get there as well. Program fees are really inclusive of a lot of things, as many things as we can possibly get in there. So it's going to include your tuition, your housing, insurance, excursions, social and cultural activities, volunteer opportunities if you want to do that. So it really is meant to be one program fee covers as much as possible. Sometimes it includes your meals, sometimes it doesn't. It depends on the housing option, but we really try to put as much as we can and pack as much as we can into the one program fee so that you don't have any extra things outside of your own personal spending once you arrive on site. One of the coolest things about the programs, of course, are the excursions. So that's definitely a nice selling point of why you'd want to come abroad with an organization like API. These are all included with your program fee, like I mentioned, so there's no extra fee. We acknowledge that learning happens outside of just the classroom in the local city, but we want to experience the local area as well. So for spring 2021 and for the time being, these are all day trips. In a time of non-COVID, we do overnight excursions and some longer trips, but for the time being, these are going to be day trips. So there's actually some more things that are included in terms of actual number of events than previously because they're day trips, which is cool. So these are some examples of things that would happen in Rome if you did our program that's there, just to kind of give you an idea of what these are, but it varies from site to site and it'll vary from term to term as well. But these are really, really great ways for you to engage a little bit outside of your city and really experience life in and around where you're studying. While you're in your host city, we do a lot of different cultural events and activities. Sometimes these are weekly, at least bi-weekly. So there's a lot of different activities that are taking place, or bi-monthly, I'm sorry, that take place throughout the time that you're there. Things like cooking classes or museum tours or concerts or things like that. So these are a really great way for you to engage with the local community. We do actually have these in the virtual space as well. So I'll talk about those with regard to our API Connect platform. So don't think that just because if you decide to do a virtual program, you're not going to get cultural events. We have those for you in a virtual space as well. Again, these are all covered by API, so there's no additional cost. But we do acknowledge that this is a really great way for you to learn a little bit more about your host culture and to really kind of engage yourself with your fellow students, your API resident directors, and also locals in the community as well. Again, the learning that takes place outside of the classroom is just as important, if not more important, than what happens in the classroom. So it's a really great way for you to get the most out of your program. Housing is included again with all of our on-site programs, so I want to make sure to touch on that. The first and most important thing to note about housing is that the most important thing that we consider when identifying housing is safety. So we don't select housing in bad areas. We want to make sure that we're always reviewing housing and making sure that it's up to par with what we would require. And it's usually nicer than most of the apartments that I lived in when I was in college. So that's always a good thing. It varies by location in terms of the type of housing that's available. So sometimes there'll be apartments, sometimes it'll be a host family or a residence hall, and sometimes you have different options. So it really does depend on where you're going to be. We do clarify on each of our program websites what the housing options are, and then have photographs and some other information about them as well. Depending on what you're looking for, housing can be something, especially if you have options to choose from, it can be a really big decision. So if you want to live with a host family, especially for our language students, that can be a really great way for you to learn some more about the local culture and practice your language a little bit more. But if you want more independent living, then maybe an apartment is something that you'd want to choose. So it really does vary a lot. But the host families will include your meals, at least some, if not all of your meals. Residence halls will sometimes include your meals, and sometimes it won't. And then apartments, it's all independent meals, so there's no meals included with that. But this gives you an idea of some of the pictures of some of the different housing options that we have. So we have a dorm, an apartment, and then a host family. Again, these are just examples, so it will vary a little bit from place to place. We do have a lot of programs, especially for spring, that are offering single rooms only, just for the safety of COVID and whatnot. But it does depend, but we do still have all these options available. So depending on the particular site, it'll vary, but there are programs that are there for you. So I mentioned the API gives back previously, so I just want to touch on this. So this is a way for our resident directors and our global staff to find ways for you as a student to engage and say thank you again for letting you be part of the local host community for a while. And it typically is a one-day service opportunity for you to work with local people and to do a project that's meant to help beautify or benefit the local community in some way. So a couple of examples are a beach beautification in Italy or a painting a local orphanage in Costa Rica. But these are projects that we work with on an ongoing basis typically. So it might be an organization that has a strong presence in the local community and they're doing different activities, or the salt preservation in Spain, the salt marsh preservation, that's an ongoing activity that we've been working with for a number of years. So it's something that's lasting. So it's not meant to be tourism, that sort of a thing, but it really is meant to help the local community. So it's one of my favorite parts of the program, so I like to highlight it. It's also something if you want to do volunteer work while you're on site for the longer term. So this is more of a single event, but you do have the opportunity to do volunteer opportunities throughout the course of the semester, and the resident directors will help you with that. I do want to mention the API scholarship program because we do give away quite a bit of money. So for our on-site programs, we offer scholarships ranging from $250 to $1,000 per student. So it does vary depending on the length of your program, and then the destination and a variety of other things. But we have quite a few different scholarships that you can apply for based on who you are, what you're studying, where you're going, where you come from. There's a lot of different options that are there for you. And a lot of students do receive scholarships. It's usually around 40 to 60% of our students. So there is quite a bit of funding that's available to help you out with your program. Once you've been accepted into your API program, you'll have access to the scholarships, so you can apply for that. And then those are the deadlines that are listed there, and they're on the website as well. I do want to mention, as I transition to virtual programs as well, that if you are thinking about on-site study abroad program, but not sure if now's the right time for you to go, or you're thinking that maybe you are interested in a virtual program, or you might want to do both. If you do think about a virtual program, you're going to automatically get a scholarship for a future on-site program, and it's pretty substantial. If you do a virtual program, you automatically get $500 for a future summer program, or $3,000 for a future semester or quarter program. So that can be a really great way to get some immediate funding to help pay for your on-site program if a virtual program is something you'd be interested in. So before I touch on virtual, though, I do want to talk about our on-site international internships. This is a great way for you to get some professional experience. It's a little bit different than a study abroad experience. These are full-time internship placements. So I mentioned that there are some opportunities for you to do both study and internship, and that's where you would basically take like a 3-credit internship as part of your course load on a semester-long program. But this, what I'm referring to, are full-time internship placements. So we offer them in the locations you see here, so pretty much around the world. And these are a great way for you to get some really good professional experience and expand your professional network, build your resume up, and everything like that. These are not paid internships. You do pay for them. And the reason that you pay for them is that it's still an international experience. We include your housing, and I'll talk about that in a minute, but it's also something that we source for you. So the internships are able to be really tailored to what it is you're looking for. So we offer them around the world. We both have virtual and on-site. So I'm going to touch on on-site first, but think about most of these are available virtually, so you can pretty much do that anytime. So we have a variety of placements, and basically anything that's not a hands-on medical placement is something that we can typically source for an on-site or a virtual internship. a lot of business students, obviously, but realistically, what we do is really look at what it is that you're wanting from your internship experience and the kinds of courses you've had and the kinds of experiences you've had up to date. And then we actually go out and source that internship for you. So everything is tailored to you as an individual. These are not internships that pre-exist and we fit you into a bucket, but rather what we'll do is talk with you and have an advising session to find out what it is you want to do, and then we find that placement for you. So they're really tailored, and so we can really take into account your personal and professional and academic interests as well. I'll talk about the API Connect virtual workspace in a bit because it's a component of both on-site and virtual internships. But you do get a lot of extra things with your internship as well. So you get orientation materials and resources. And what I mean by that is there's a lot of skill building materials ahead of time. So it gets you thinking about goal setting and how to make the most of your placement and how to make the most of your experience while you're there, more so than just here's where you should do this or here's where you should do that. Housing is also included. And then, of course, there's a workplace and culture orientation. So you're going to touch on how to what is the working culture like in the different location? How is that different from being a student or living there? So we touch on those things as well. Access again to those 24-hour a day, 7 days a week resident directors and global guides for any kind of assistance you might need or any kind of questions you might have. We do offer optional academic credit for the placements, and then you have internship oversight in that sense that you have a supervisor from your placement, whether it's on-site or virtual, as well as your resident director, and then also API Texas staff will help you. So they're really individualized. It's a lot of extra attention that's there for you, so it's really cool. You also get to participate in different cultural events and activities with study abroad students. So you're not typically the only intern, but even if you were, there's typically other study abroad students there, so you still have a network of other API students. And then we also have a digital badge program, and these are really great ways for you to showcase the things that you're doing as part of the internship experience on a LinkedIn profile or an e-portfolio of some sort. So it really shows the skills that you've learned to your future employers and highlights the things that you've done on your internship experience. So we do also have a program that allows you to do an intern plus study. And this is a little different in that it's set up very specifically where you can either go to Dublin or Barcelona and you take 2 5-week intensive courses. You take the same courses no matter where you are. It's a critical thinking course, an immigration in a historical context course. They're meant to be very general, very, very broad, more gen ed type classes. And then you do a 7-week full-time internship placement. So the internship, again, is sourced individually. So the courses have nothing to do with the internship, really. It's just a way for us to make sure that you earn 12 credits while you're there so you can go for a full semester. Just quickly talking about dates, the semester programs for in-person, we do have 8, 10, and 12-week sessions in the semester. And again, those coincide with the start dates of the regular semester program, so they will vary a lot, but it depends on where you want to go and how long you want to be there, but there's some really, really great opportunities for that. Most of our interns do go over the summer, and we have 3 different sessions that are all 8 weeks in length. And so generally speaking, it's late May to July, early June to late July, or mid-June to mid-August. The specific dates will be listed on the website, but it is there. You can earn credit again with us in the summer session for 6 credits. We don't offer credit for the semester option for this one. If you wanted to earn credit with us for the semester, you'd do the study plus internship option, just because we only offer 6 credits, so we can't do that for a regular semester program. But if you do the study and intern, you earn all 12 credits. But summer, we do have the option of 6 credits. And then our virtual programs, I just want to mention the dates for these. This is for summer 2021. You see those as there. And then we actually have a spring program coming up too. So we have March 15th to May 7th. So they're a little different from our regular internship programs, our on-site internship programs, but there's a lot of different options. You can also have the choice of doing a part-time virtual internship. So if you wanted to combine that with a study abroad program or even with your on-site program at Stout, you could actually do a virtual internship part-time and combine it with some of the work that you're doing in class. So transitioning now to the virtual quick, I'll just go through this really quick. I don't want to take up too much time, but the API Connect is our virtual workspace. And so this is where we have those cultural events and things like that that you would do if you're participating in a virtual space. It's also where you would earn those digital badges, whether you're doing a program on site or virtually. The digital badges are not just for internships, they're also for our study abroad experiences too. So they can be applicable to a variety of different courses. It's a way to connect with other students on the program as well as your resident directors or global guides. You see Matteo in the bottom here teaching us how to speak Italian without actually saying anything. This is an example of one of the recorded videos that's available in the platform, but there's a lot of different live events that take place as well and other things too. So there might be cooking classes or those museum tours, but they're done in a virtual space. But it's a really cool platform, really user-friendly and everything like that. So we have 3 different types of programs. The first one is our Global Select for virtual. This is where you can choose 1 to 6 classes that are offered online through one of our partner institutions. And you basically enroll in that class like you would any other online course, even like Stout or any other university, but you're taking it with other students through that international university. You receive access to the API Connect platform, so you've got all that cultural content and resident director as well to help enhance the experience, but the coursework itself is done through that partner institution. Again, you have a variety of options, so there's over 2,500 different courses to choose from. So we have narrowed it down a little bit on our website for some more popular disciplines like international business, global health, things like that. But it's a great way to, just add 1 class if you're looking to do something like that, or just kind of get that international perspective in a different way without actually having to go abroad for the semester. We have 2 different labs. The first one I want to talk about is Innovation Lab. And so this is a way that you work in a team of 4 to 6 peers that are multidisciplinary, so across all different majors and academic areas. And you spend 10 weeks working on a creative business solution to a UN global problem that's been identified. So together you pick a problem and you come up with an idea to solve that problem. And then you work through a 10-week process where you come up with a proposal and you actually end up pitching it in a competition. Along the way, API provides resources for you in terms of experts around the world, global guides, that help you kind of think things through and answer any questions and really keep you on task and keep you on track to do that. But it's modeled on a 10-week program. It's not a credit-bearing program, but it is a really, really cool way to earn 3 different digital badges in this case, and really highlight some of those skills and give you a tangible outcome in the fact that you would develop this actual pitch, which is cool. The other lab that we have is the Community Engagement Lab. So the structure is very much the same, but instead of a business solution, you're working on a community action plan. So you look and see what kinds of problems or issues you might have in your local community and how you might want to solve those. And then you work together again, in a group of 4 to 6 peers with other sourced industry mentors and whatnot that API finds from around the world to help come up with a plan for that. So you might talk about homelessness or getting people to register to vote, things like that, and how would that be approached in a different country or in a different location. And then you take those things in and give it a global to local kind of a feel. So again, not credit bearing, but a really cool opportunity to do something really interesting and work with people from around the world. The labs are also our least expensive program. So if you think about it from a financial perspective, they're a great way to participate in something cool and then again, get that really good scholarship for a future in-person program. And then lastly, our virtual internships, which I've already touched on a little bit, but again, I just want to mention these as an option for our virtual programs. You have either a full-time or a part-time placement. And these are very, very specific. They're found, again, for individual students, and they are based off the NACE skills curriculum. So it is really a good benefit to show future employers what you've done. And you're able to combine this with another experience, or again, do it with your online classes or your in-person courses that you're taking now. So the program fee you see listed there as well. So they're not terribly expensive either. So we had a lot of students do these over the summer in particular. So we're really excited to continue offering them for the foreseeable future. So that's my session. That's the information that I have. I know I kind of went through it quickly, but I did want to leave some time for questions. So we've listed, I have a couple different websites here. The first is our apiabroad.com/fairs website. And so this is a great place for you to go to sign up for emails. You can find links to all the different programs that I just mentioned and that I spoke about. If you're interested in speaking with an actual API alum, whether it's a UW-Stout student or someone else from one of our programs, you're certainly welcome to do that here. This is you just enter in some information and we'll connect you with an API alum. And then I also have our general email and then my personal email as well. So you're welcome to ask any questions or feel free to share anything that you might have. So there's my session. So I'm happy to answer any questions that anyone might have. I can, share links to website or anything like that. So yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I know we had a couple students in here, but it looks like they may have had to leave.
Okay.
I might just go off and ask a couple questions just based on questions I've had from other students in other
Sure.
sessions. I know you elaborated a bit on some summer internships and summer courses. What kind of opportunities do you have possibly over wind term, like that January period?
Yeah, sure. So we do have some programs in our January term. And so the best way for you to do it, actually, to find them is, let's see here. I'm actually going to share my screen again and show you. Okay, so on our program finder, we actually have, you can search at the program finder and you can actually search by session. So if you're looking for short-term programs, you click that and then you click apply. This will bring up our short-term program. So it'll say Maymester like short-term intensive or January term programs. So Jan term in Prague, Jan term in Madrid, Jan term in Lisbon. This is where you would find those types of programs. Our most popular and our most broad courses are offered in Florence through the LDM program, which is a big popular program for Stout students. So this is the program that's offered there. So we specifically have a separate link for the January term program that's there. So it has dates, fees, courses, things like that. So as of right now, the Jan term is technically still going for 2021. So you see the program dates there. And then if you click on courses, it'll actually show you what the classes are that are offered, because they don't offer quite as many, but there are still a fair number of classes that are offered. Whereas for the other program options, typically it'll link you to the course catalog or to a different website for that. But that's the best way to find January term courses that are offered, or January term programs that are available.
Thank you so much for sharing. Another question I can bring up is students, when they go to study abroad, they do like to have, either on their weekends or just to have a day to kind of take a little breather from their classes. And I know you had mentioned that API plans excursions and kind of free time and locations to visit. I was wondering if you could elaborate on possibly some of the popular places to visit on some of your most popular programs.
Yeah, I mean, so we do have a lot of scheduled activities, but there's also a lot of free time. So it'll depend a little bit on obviously how long you're there. So our shorter term programs, obviously we try to schedule things, but also not overwhelm everybody too. So if it's like a 4-week summer program, there would typically be excursions and activities that are taking place, but there's still free time. Normally also classes during the semester are normally Monday through Thursday. It varies a little bit and it does depend, but typically you have Fridays off in most all of our locations. It's not always a guarantee because it does depend on classes, but it's there. But one of the biggest reasons I think that people choose Europe in general to study abroad is that there is so much access that's so easily, and it's so easy to get to other destinations. So if you're in London or Paris or Rome, you have access to pretty much all the rest of Europe on really inexpensive flights. So you can pop in between cities on weekends. Now, that being said, for spring 2021 and moving forward, we're encouraging students not to travel internationally while they're there, just because of COVID and all the different challenges that poses. However, moving forward, once that's no longer as much of a concern, it'll be back to, the general or the normal, if you will. There's a lot of different things that can happen depending on where you are in terms of really close by activities. So if you're in Spain, for example, one of our more popular programs is Seville. And there's so many things that you can do in Andalusia. You can go to Granada for the weekend, or you can go to Cadiz and go to the beach, or you can pop over to Portugal, or even if you go to Northern Africa, it's really easy to get to those different locations. So we'll plan, again, the day trips and things like that for you as part of the program, but there's a lot of different opportunities for travel in and around those locations. London is another big location, a really popular one, and there's a lot of great opportunities to travel to Scotland. So it's not, you can easily take a train, hop on the train and go to Edinburgh for a couple days, or go to Glasgow, or even go down to Brighton. There's a lot of different things that you can do in those different locations. And one of the cool things about having our resident directors and our global staff there, they're usually always from those particular cities, or at least those countries. So they have a lot of really great access to information and personal resources to share information. So they can really help you plan those trips, even if they're not, an API program, but they can help you figure out where to stay, or, answer lots of different questions for you. Does that kind of help?
Yes, thank you.
Sure.
And then one more question, just a popular one I get from students. What kind of advice, or what would you say to students who are wanting to go study abroad on your program and are a little nervous about some language barriers or anything else they might run into when visiting another country?
Sure, yeah. So I totally understand language is definitely an interesting issue, especially if you're not going for the purpose of studying a language, but you're taking your classes in English, but it's in a non-English speaking destination. Florence is one of our most popular destinations overall. And of course, they speak Italian in Italy, but our program is totally in English with the exception of the one Italian language class that you choose. I would say that in my experience, my personal experience traveling, as well as the feedback that we receive from students, it's fairly easy to navigate most of these different locations. There are English speaking programs. So if language is a concern for you, then we would obviously, want you to look at those options as well, whether it's Australia, New Zealand, England, Ireland, Scotland, something like that. But generally speaking, students find that it's fairly easy to at least navigate enough to be able to feel comfortable in those local communities. And even if they're not studying the language, they're going to pick up some of the language, which is pretty cool. Also, all of our staff are English speaking. So whether or not it's in a non-English speaking country, we have really, really great qualified English speaking resident directors. So they can absolutely help and answer any questions and help you figure things out. I traveled to China by myself and I do not speak Chinese, but I was able to figure things out. And English is present enough that you're able to typically at least read signs and make your way around. But again, we have people that are there to help you if you do have any questions or challenges. There's typically always some type of a crash course, if you will. So you learn some of the basics. And then, of course, in the pre-departure materials, you're going to receive common sayings and phrases and things like that. Because even though, I speak Spanish, for example, but I studied in Spain, it's a very different dialect or different language, even in places like Cuba or Latin America. So even for me, having to brush up on some of those, local sayings or things like that, it's nice to have. So I like to review some of our pre-departure materials if I'm going to be traveling to those places so that I can kind of get some heads up to what some of the more common sayings would be. But it's certainly an area that we recognize, and we want to do everything we can to help prepare you and provide as much assistance to make you as comfortable as possible in the different locations.
All right, thank you so much for sharing.
Yeah.
I don't believe we have any other questions in the chat. I don't believe any of the students that were here left any.
Okay.
Were there any other kind of final parting words or anything you wanted to say or add?
Sure. Yeah. I just wanted to say that, we'd love to work with you or, help you explore the opportunities that are available through API. We're really, really happy to work with Stout. And so we've welcomed a number of students on our programs. And I'm sorry that I can't be there on campus. I'm sorry that we're in the situation that we're in right now. But we hope that you'll consider us. And I'd be happy to meet with anybody or answer any questions. But I just hope that you'll consider this at some point in the future, whether it's either a virtual program or an in-person or even both. So I appreciate the opportunity to share information today, and thank you so much.
All right, thank you. And then I'll just leave a final note here. If there are any students who view the recording after viewing this recorded info session, we do have Ask an Advisor booth open all day. If any students have any questions about certain programs or general questions about studying abroad, they can pop over to that info session that will be open until 10 p.m. US Central Time.
Cool.
All right, thank you so much for your presentation.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, take care.
Yep, you too. Bye-bye now.
Bye.